Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, where we prove Miss Foster to be wrong at every turn, but now the judge calls for order, as he probably is going to be on her side yet again. I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, Miss Faye. And I must admit it does seem odd not to have thrown the body into the river. Indeed it does, because that's what any murderer would do, as we discussed last episode. Ooh. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how sad. Perhaps Miss Faye would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself. After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature.
What are you talking about?
My point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that this is what the killer did. And none of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw. Quite true. Oh yeah, that's kind of a point. Miss Faye, it seems that your assertion was without merit after all.
Objection!
But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous.
Objection!
Surely you can't deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car? That's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us. Please, witness, go on with your testimony.
I'll try.
All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again.
Who is he talking about? Alright, I'll do my best. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms.
Yeah, okay, we kinda get that. It's an add-on statement again.
Then he carried it over to the car. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there.
He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. I'm sorry, I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. So the new statement here is... the third statement.
Hold it!
Why is that being added then?
What did the man do then? Well, naturally he got in the car and was about to flee. That's when I came to my senses. I said to myself, you have to call the police.
And so that's when you called the police?
You're sure that you saw all that with your own eyes? Yes, I'm 100% certain.
Right, this is obviously our statement because it's the different one. Let's try this one as well, second.
You personally witnessed that?
The carrying over to the car?
Yes. Did anything strange happen when he did that? Well, I don't know if you call it strange or not, but that's when the victim's scarf fell off.
You mean this scarf? Her words match what we found at the scene. I don't see any problem. Indeed, they do. This is our statement. And I think the point here is again the map. Based on where she took the picture, with the cliffs all around her, and based on where the car is, she couldn't have possibly seen him break into the car unless she climbed up. Oh, that's probably what's going to be said next, is that she climbed it, Mrs. Demure Foster. But this is our new statement, so it's got to be it.
Objection!
Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time.
This is really a lie.
Done what? Made a crucial mistake.
A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Faye?
The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your very own eyes? Yes, and? It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. The place you claim to have taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you tried to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way.
Ah! I wondered the butterflies were going to escape then.
That's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not have possibly seen the killer's car. Yeah!
Objection!
I admit that the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would stop her from seeing the car.
That's right. It's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine.
I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash.
I believe it was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location that the photo was taken from.
Your own photo tells the whole story.
You can clearly see the left side of the bridge. But the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff.
And you said it was a cliff too. Ah!
Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff, but still you claim to have been able to see the killer's car. No!
Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo?
Objection!
Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate that the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it.
Objection!
But she was repeatedly warned before starting her testimony. She was told to testify only about what she saw with her own eyes.
Oh. Mr. Judge? Oh, it's Melissa saying that. What is it?
I think I must have remembered things wrong.
Hold it!
Hey, wait a minute. You can't just say that. Take backsies.
Objection!
Miss Faye, no one on the face of the planet is perfect. Yes, indeed. Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human. To forgive, divine. I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to our witness here.
What? That's not fair.
Ha! Save the tears for later, kitten.
Mr. Armando.
Don't look back until the trial is over. Now is the time to go forward.
But that wasn't fair.
Okay, kitten. You need to relax. Then you need to remember. The other kitten's testimony.
The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there.
So tell me, how did she know that? How did she know that he broke into the trunk?
Aha!
Well, Miss Foster, until you can explain how you knew that, you're going to have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness?
Well, I'm certain that he broke into the trunk because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain they were scratch marks from when he broke into it.
What? Let me see that photo. That's true, though. It's true. These certainly look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious that this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Faye, are you satisfied?
The judge is on his side. I can't make any mistakes here. What she just said, is there a contradiction in there somewhere?
No, it doesn't work. She's on the other side. She can't see the cracks, especially at rain. She'd have to be right up to the car herself. Or have seen the photo, yeah. She'd have had to be right there.
Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in a field taking photos of wildflowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? Finally, I finally got her.
Ha! I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here. Then perhaps it would be faster if Miss Faye explained herself.
Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was...
Well, she was on the other side, so she didn't happen to be passing by. She isn't the owner of the car, or maybe she is, but then she wouldn't have got the car back. She'd have had to be right up to the car. So it's time to do the bluff. If it is a bluff, that is. She put the corpse in herself.
There's only one way that the witness had the chance to see those scratches.
Yes? What is it?
Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of that car was... Melissa Foster. It was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous. I could never... It was the man in the prison garb. He's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Fools had been the one that put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open. But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light, which means that the key would have still been in the ignition. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. That it couldn't have been Mr. Fools that put the body in the trunk. No!
Preposterous! To even suggest that the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo that she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. And we already know that at the time she was taking photographs. Or not.
Now is your chance, Mia. Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this may have not been pushed by Miss Foster herself.
Has a timer function.
Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod.
I got a very mini tripod.
Why, it's almost as if she'd bought this camera just to take this picture.
Objection!
What are you trying to say then, Miss Fay? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field as she claimed?
Well, if she really did use the camera's auto timer, then the answer is yes, she was somewhere else. Exactly, she was not in the field.
Would the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? In answering that question will also make clear Miss Foster's true identity. Well then, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred?
Well, it's a setup of a scene of which she had to be on this side. She had a camera waiting for a meeting that was impeccably timed, if you know what I mean from the timer. So thinking back to our last case, we're staging the thing again, aren't we? Fools was there, but he didn't know who this person was. Naturally, the witness was right here.
But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order, order, order! Miss Fay, what on earth?
Your Honour, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met the victim.
Objection!
How asinine. Of course Mr. Fools met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to have put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Fools.
You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne.
Objection!
What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. And who exactly is the victim in this photo?
It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness.
What?
It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Fools met on the bridge that day was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster. Me? Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Fools himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne.
Objection!
The defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted.
Objection!
But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in the federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore.
You were just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof?
I've got it all right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case wide open. At the time of the incident, Mr. Fools had forgotten what Miss Valerie Hawthorne looked like.
Basically, he asked for a form of identity, didn't he? The real question here, of course, is we know this is Dahlia, and of course I know the link in the name between the victim and the what we're proposing as the killer right now. So it's some kind of internal family thing that ended up with sisters killing sisters by the sound of it. Or at least a loose relation, I don't know. Same name after all.
Take that!
Unless she now lives a double life. Mr. Fools had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification. Namely this muddy scarf. Ah! It was Mr. Fools who requested that she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? No!
Oh. Where's Miss Foster? She's collecting herself in the lobby.
It's obvious that Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together.
The only question is, why did she do it?
Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. No, there's something else behind it. The secrets, the truth will come out. There's something deeper.
Ha! Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood. Very well. This court is in recess. Is that for a save point, is it? Well, it leads to a short episode today. But more questions for tomorrow. We've got to bring her back and find out what happened in the past. But I guess, considering this is a break, it hopefully gives us a chance to talk to the defendant. Pray, seeming we don't get to investigate ever. The Hawthorns. Sister-on-sister murder, was it? Stealing of identity of other cases been preparing us for this? I'm confused myself, but we'll find out next time on Trials and Tribulations. Bye-bye.